be this sort of ADD society with which
Welcome to another episode of Worldview.
compared to drugs.
We know for a fact that what all of these systems do, every single one, is it exploits our own natural tendencies in human beings to get and want feedback. And that feedback, chemically speaking, is the release of dopamine in your brain. And so what these feedback loops do, and they exist everywhere, in Call of Duty, in other video games, in social networking sites, they get you to react. And I think that if you get too desensitized and you need it over and over and over again, then you become actually detached from the world in which you live.
You become callous, you become crude.
And you
you're not
live
tuned
in front of your
things.
screen.
Imagine a day without your smartphone. No buzzing, no scrolling, no checking. Just peace. Sounds relaxing, right? But what if I told you that your phone might be doing more than just keeping you connected? It could actually be changing your brain, and not in a good way. Today, we'll explore how that tiny device in your pocket is affecting your mind, your health, and even your memory. But don't worry. We'll also talk about what you can do to take back control. There's a study from 2021 that found too much phone use might actually shrink the part of our brain that helps us remember things, the hippocampus. It's like a muscle. If we don't use it, it gets weaker. Like, think about it. Have you ever found your way home without GPS? I mean, it's like we don't even need to use that part of our brains anymore. With just a simple touch of a button, we just follow the line and that's it. Even when it comes down to our phone numbers, we can't seem to remember. I can only imagine the damage this may have on our brains. If we continue to rely on our phones for storing information that we can easily be stored in our brains, then the hippocampus will continue to shrink, which means we will rely on our phones even more, but that can be destructive to our brains, especially if our brains are still growing. Have you ever felt stressed when you couldn't find your phone? Well, you're not alone on this one. In fact, scientists actually have a name for this. It's called nomophobia, or the fear of being without your phone. A study by Dr. Larry Rosen found that when people can't check their phones, they get anxious, their hearts race, and they feel stressed, even if nothing serious is happening. This constant stress is bad for our brains. It makes it harder to think clearly, and can even change the way we respond to things in real life. I can definitely argue that this is me, and I tend to always lose my phone early in the morning, so I know this may be a bit relatable to some of you guys. Let's talk about focus. Have you ever tried to study or do homework with your phone nearby? Well, just having your phone in the same room can actually make it harder to concentrate. If we look at the study from the University of Chicago, it showed that people's brains work harder when their phones are nearby, even if they're not using them. It's called brain drain. For some reason, studies have shown that we tend to fight the urge to check our phones, and that really makes it harder to focus. Even going out with family or even on a date, remaining in the present seems to be hard for most. I sometimes wonder if there will be a time when, instead of eating and talking at the dinner table, we will have phones glued to our faces or maybe even our brains. Smartphones are powerful tools, but they come at a cost. They can hurt our memories, stress us out, and make it harder to focus. But there's good news. We can change this. If you can take breaks from your phone here and there and maybe spend time without it, this can give your brain a chance to rest and grow. If we can pick up our head at dinner table and take breaks here and there, I think we dodge the problem this may have on our brains. How do you feel about your phone? Do you feel like it controls your life, or do you control it? Let's rethink how we use these little devices, and maybe, just maybe, we'll feel more connected to ourselves and the world around us. Thanks for watching Worldview. Have a great day.